being a woman and making it to this level, many congratulations. You're a beacon of hope for women of this country.
Thank you, Navika, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to interact with you and also to reach out to your viewers. It's a good opportunity and I'm very grateful.
Nirmala ji, this was the budget ahead of the elections. Lok Sabha elections आने वाले हैं. लोगों की उम्मीद है कि बस कुछ ही दिनों में, हफ्तों में अनाउंसमेंट आ जाएगी. लेकिन बजट में ऐसा कुछ नहीं था जिसको बनाई है और सबको कुछ ना कुछ बांटेंगी. बहुत स्ट्रेट लाइन पर आपने बॉलिंग की, विकेट टू विकेट बॉलिंग की. क्या ये टेम्पटेशन थी? डिड यू हैव द टेम्पटेशन दैट दिस इज द बजट ahead of the Lok Sabha elections, तो कुछ populist measures ले, and did you have to resist that urge?
No, actually I think right from the very beginning when the preparations for this budget started, Honorable PM was very clear, and the guidance which we had was very clearly to give a direction towards the next 5 years, 10 years and so on, and also to be continuing with that momentum which we brought in, that it should be a transparent budget which should speak for itself, and there can never be anything which is put under the carpet or kept outside of the budgetary process. So that was the guidance I've received, and right from the beginning our team worked on that principle. There was never a second thought whether it should have something as a pre-election bonanza. Nothing. In fact, I did remark, I think, in one earlier program somewhere, that it is going to be an interim budget and there's not going to be any spectacular announcements. I did say that once before.
पर लोगों की उम्मीद है कि जाती ही नहीं कि कुछ तो मिडिल क्लासेस को टैक्स ब्रेक्स मिल जाते, कुछ कहीं पर राहत मिल जाती, क्योंकि महंगाई भी है और चैलेंजेस भी हैं. और खास करके ऑपोजिशन को अगर आप सुने, पूर्व वित्त मंत्री, द प्रीवियस फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर मिस्टर पी चिदम्बरम, उन्होंने आपकी अटेंशन ड्रॉ की है टू द ह्यूज अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट प्रॉब्लम as well as the problem of women having a lower participation as far as the workforce is concerned. How do you respond to that criticism?
No, first of all, this is an interim budget. And conveniently, if anyone wants to tell me that, look, we have expectations there, you should have addressed this, you should have addressed that, the very same people I'm sure would have had an opportunity to say, चुनाव से पहले वाले बजट में तो चुनाव ही इंटेंशन के साथ आपने बजट बना दिया. सो ठीक है, लोग जो विपक्ष में बैठते हैं उनको तो अधिकार बनता ही है कि कमेंट ही करते रहो. उसमें से जो विषय है उसको तो मैं जरूर सुनूंगी और उसके ऊपर विचार भी करूंगी, मगर ये नहीं है कि जो उन्होंने कमेंट कर दिया वही सही है. हमारी नजरिया से इस बजट में कितना करना, क्या इंटरिम बजट का उपयोग चुनाव के लिए करना है, इसके ऊपर हमारे निर्णय तो स्पष्ट है. अभी चुनाव के लिए उपयोग नहीं किया, मगर जरूर उसमें एक डायरेक्शन सेटिंग का तो है विषय, और उस डायरेक्शन सेटिंग इसीलिए कि जितने भी मांग बाहर से बात कर रहे हैं उसके ऊपर जुलाई के बजट के समय हम सोच लेंगे.
जनता की पुकार तो सुन लेते, मिडिल क्लास की
नहीं, सबके पुकार सुनेंगे ना जब पूरे बजट का प्रेजेंटेशन हो जुलाई में.
तो चलिए, आप कह रहे हैं कि फरवरी में नहीं, अब गुहार लगानी है तो जुलाई के बजट में. तो ये दर्शाता है निर्मला जी कि शायद मोदी सरकार, आप प्रधानमंत्री ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट हैं कि आएगा तो मोदी ही, और ये आपके बजट से दिख रहा था. क्या बीजेपी ये मान चुकी है कि अगली सरकार भी मोदी सरकार होगी?
मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि कैसे आपने ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट के शब्द उपयोग किए. हम हमारे स्टेटमेंट तो इंटरिम बजट के द्वारा बोल दिए हैं कि आने वाले 5 साल, 10 साल और विकसित भारत 2047 के लिए हमारी कोशिश क्या होना चाहिए उसका एक झलक हमने दिखा दिया। और जुलाई बजट के समय पूरे कंसल्टेशन होगा, उसके ऊपर चिंता विमर्श होगा और उसका ही स्थान बनता है जब अगले साल हम क्या करने वाले हैं उसको विस्तार से बोलने की। अभी तो इंटरिम बजट को प्योरली यूज किए कि डायरेक्शन सेटिंग। ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर भी सेशन की शुरुआत में वो बयान देने के समय बोले कि इसमें डायरेक्शन, दिशा दिखाने वाली बातें होगा। जरूर हुआ, ऐसे ही हुआ।
So, the question many again level the criticism is 10 years of UPA, compare it with the 10 years of the Modi Sarkar. Growth rate better in the UPA Sarkar than it is now. If you look at the per capita income growth, again, the UPA years better than the NDA years or the Modi Sarkar years. How do you respond to that criticism?
It's not a well thought through criticism at all, although the details I will explain somewhere else. But the fact remains, after a pandemic, for the economy to have dipped and then risen back, and there was also these comments saying, okay shaped recovery hai, idhar nahi hua, udhar nahi hua, patchy ho rahi hai recovery. Nahi, recovery full hua, कोई अल्फाबेट एट्रीब्यूट करने का आवश्यकता ही नहीं हुआ। और अभी सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ जिससे सबका कॉन्फिडेंस, सिर्फ सरकार का नहीं, सबका कॉन्फिडेंस है कि अगले 5 साल के अंदर जो हम प्रधानमंत्री जी बार बार कहते हैं, मेरे थर्ड टर्म में थर्ड लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमी के और हम बढ़ रहे हैं। उस समय ग्रोथ ऐसे था, इस समय ग्रोथ ऐसे हैं करने वाले कंपैरिजन गलत है, क्योंकि अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी के सरकार छोड़ करके यूपीए सरकार जब बनाया, इकोनॉमी वॉज इन अ प्राइम स्टेट। उसका लाभ उठाए 2004 से 2009 तक, मगर अपने ही काम 2004 से 9 तक अगर अच्छा होता, वो सस्टेनेबल रहता 2009 से 14 तक, क्योंकि इनके ध्यान पूरे कैसे करप्शन हर डिपार्टमेंट में होना चाहिए उसके ऊपर और भाई भतीजावाद के ऊपर, इकोनॉमी के ऊपर श्रद्धा और कमिटमेंट के साथ देश को आगे लेने वाले बात में ध्यान नहीं था। उसके कारण 9 to 14 और दूसरे विषय एक्सटर्नली भी चैलेंजेस आया फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस के वजह से। कोविड से उसको कंपेयर करो, फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस को कोविड के साथ कंपेयर करने में वो क्राइसिस कितना छोटा लगता है और कोविड कितना बड़ा लगता है। उस छोटा सा क्राइसिस को, वो भी पार्टली ग्लोबल था, उसको हैंडल करना भी समझ में नहीं आया, और अगर समझ में नहीं आया गलत तरीके से हैंडल किया, जिससे एक अच्छा सा इकोनॉमी जो 2004 में आपके हाथ में मिला और ग्रोथ के बारे में उस पीरियड का नंबर दिखाते हुए बात करते हैं, फ्रजाइल 5 तक पहुंच गया आपके दुर्व्यवहार के कारण। कंपेयर करिए ना उसको, कोविड से पूरे दुनिया कैसे झरमराते हुए हम देखे, और फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस का असर कितना था ग्लोबली, उसको भी आप हैंडल कर नहीं पाए। और आज बोल रहे हैं कि कंपेयर करना हम कैसे हैंडल किए, पर कैपिटल कितना, पर कैपिटा जितना भी हुआ, जब आप छोड़ करके जनता आपको आशीर्वाद नहीं दिया और चले गया, फ्रजाइल 5 भी आप ही नहीं तोड़ दिया। इसीलिए कंपेयर करने वाले, कमेंट करने वाले थोड़ा सोच समझकर बात करना, 10 साल के 10 साल कंपेयर करिए।
Well, I hope Mr. P. Chidambaram is listening to your response to his criticism and his statements in a press conference held on Budget Day. But let me ask you, you have emphasized on discipline, fiscal discipline target of 5.1% of the GDP. Do you think you will be able to sustain? The fact of the matter is that you've given the direction to battery operated green energy vehicles, research and development in the country, capital investment in infrastructure, skill development. But again, people come up in infrastructure investments. The private sector has lagged behind. Most of the expenditure has been by the public sector, by the government, which has led to a high debt ratio to the GDP, which could be a red flag for the economy. And on the skill side, while you may say you've trained a lot of people, only 40%, less than 40% of the people have got placements or have got employed. So employment and participation of the private sector and the high debt ratio to GDP, are these the red flag areas for the economy?
First of all, this debt to GDP matter is being spoken conveniently by cherry picking data. Look at the globe, look at the countries, even developed countries. Some of them and their debt to GDP ratios are stunningly different from ours, in the sense they are even 300% more than, they are 200% more than. Japanese, for instance, are also very high. Many developed economies have well crossed the acceptable level of debt to GDP. And in that context, for us to be somewhere in the range of 80 and also be in the range coming downwards, to raise a red flag and say, is this a dangerous situation? And it is not a government which borrowed for no reason. Post-COVID, particularly because many such compensation had to be borrowed for, and also the states had to take that load, and many of our own programs had to be funded without stopping or cutting down the budget on many welfare schemes. If the government had to go through that period when your revenue generation had almost come to a halt, how would you expect the government to function without borrowing? It will borrow. But it was done responsibility, and that's with responsibility, and that is why it stays where it is. So I've given you the comparison between a developed country and an emerging market country like ours, and also showing how we are handling debt. Even today, making sure that your fiscal discipline is not lost, and making sure that we'll reorganize ourselves. And the borrowing that we are announcing is far lesser than what the market expected us to do. So on debt, borrowing, we've been absolutely responsible. That's my first response. The second, you talked about skilling. All over the country, industry is today looking at a complete resetting of its business models. Most of them are looking at how artificial intelligence is going to bring in greater efficiencies. They want to recruit people, but there's also this concern that many of them have still got to acquire a lot of artificial intelligence related skills with which they can be readily recruited. So there is a shift happening. At this time, to pin our argument on one particular set of data or on the other particular set of data is only going to give you a partial picture. So I would suggest that even as all of us are equally concerned about our youth wanting to have greater skills, such skills with which they can get into the market, we should equally accommodate for a period where the readjustment is happening, both for industry and for the labor force as well, for which the government is, as I said in the last budget, that we will establish 3 Institutes of Excellence for greater study and work in artificial intelligence. So our attention is there. We want to help industry also to tell us with the NASSCOM to make sure that they give us the kind of skill sets, curriculum for it, and also to make sure that kind of a training is provided. So activities are happening with the advice of the concerned industry itself. The other point that you did raise, that industry, are they coming forward for investment? Is it happening or not? I would say industry, first of all, it took some time for them because, again, going back to the fragile 5 economy time, wasn't there a twin balance sheet problem? Industry's balance sheet, banks' balance sheet were all suffering because banks were made to extend loans on telephone orders from somewhere, and they extended for fear of authority. Many of them couldn't even get the money back. And the companies, many of them, who wanted capital, who wanted infusion of money, couldn't get it from the bank because telephones didn't go for them, they went for others. End of the day, these companies took their time, and with us coming also with favorable interest rates for newer establishments, industries have shown that they've corrected their balance sheet. They've also started new ventures, benefiting from the lower corporate tax that we had brought in. Now, investments from private sector is happening possibly in the newer areas that you talked about. Green hydrogen, electric ecosystem for EVs, also looking at materials, rare earths. So private sector's investment is happening in newer areas and with greater gusto.
So let me ask you, the political indications that came from the budget, a white paper on the UPA years. Do you think it's even relevant 10 years later to bring in a white paper on the UPA years other than just a little bit of politics ahead of elections? Because if there needed to be a white paper, it probably needed to be put out in the first year of the Modi Sarkar after taking a sense of what had happened in the 10 previous year. But to bring it 10 years later, do you think it's even relevant, or is this just petty politics?
So I'm so happy you asked this question. It is absolutely relevant. It is
10 years
absolutely relevant 10 years later. Because, and I'm glad, even in 2015-16, Honorable PM in a public interview to a television channel said it. There's a lot of call for me to come up with a white paper on the state of finances, which was inherited by me, for instance, PM said. And said, a lot of knowledgeable people have been telling me that I should come up with a white paper to state what we've inherited. But I'll put the interest of the nation first and not do it now. He didn't say anything more. He said doing it now would certainly shatter the investors' confidence and would also make people of India feel shaken up. Their trust and faith would be lost in the systems. He said that far then. Now, with us having done a comparable 10-year period, and during which we had to pull out the economy from that mire, the fragile fire situation, and having brought it to the state where not fragile fire, we are reaching probably within a year or two, globally third largest economy. So with authority and with a sense of responsibility, we'll be able to say it now because we have proven to the world, proven to our own people that institutions and also restoring the Indian economy back to its good health have all happened. So we want to say it now.
Let me ask you, politics, if you're saying you're doing it with the purpose of responsibility, the fact is that the opposition-ruled states have absolutely no confidence in the center. Mamata Banerjee has gone on a strike. She's done a dharna. She's written a letter to the Prime Minister yesterday that the Finance Ministry is withholding money that is due to states like hers, like West Bengal. The issue raised by the Finance Ministry is no utilization certificates, and she says nothing is pending. Why is there just so much confrontation between the central government and the federal governments in states, especially ruled by the opposition?
I don't think there is a confrontation, Navika. It is more establishing the rule of law. Parliament of India passes and approves a certain scheme, a yojana. And when the monies are sent for the state to utilize for that scheme, if they rebrand it, if they bring in objectionable things which the CAG pulls out, saying, I'm sorry, you've given it for people who are not eligible. CAG says, no, you've given it for people who don't exist. Are they not critical criteria on the basis of which the centre is duty bound, because we answer in the parliament, to tell the states, what's this which the CAG has said? Would you do some correction and come back? They sit over it, they deny it, and then when they try to correct it, they don't do a complete job of it. And then they sit over it again and then send the utilization certificate after 2 full years or 2.5 years. And then keep pointing out, saying it's pending from then, without saying we went wrong. And it was right of the center to say what was approved in the parliament, you should implement it as per the letter and spirit of what was approved. You don't rebrand it. You don't spend it on people who are not eligible. You don't then argue with everybody and say, this is how I'll do it, but you'll have to release it. No, sorry, I'll have to answer in the parliament. How will I release it for a program which is not approved by the parliament? So if these questions are asked, in a way, speaking as they say, truth to power, no, it's not like that. It's confrontation. Center is stopping. You're doing wrong, yeah?
Truth to power can be done by people who are not in power. People like us can question truth to
but
power.
You won't.
But you are the union finance minister. Your, stating or giving any diktats to a chief minister is not truth to power.
Because you media don't ask the truth to power question to those people, you keep asking us.
We are boycotted by those.
I'm asking through you. Is it not true that it was rebranded? Is it not true that you tried putting names of people who don't exist in the villages? Or is it not true that your utilization certificates came so late sometimes? And when you rebrand it and launch it to your favor, we'll have to just sit and watch.
It's about the name. Mamata Banerjee versus Modi name. That's the problem.
It's also, there's no Modi name. It's PM. There's no Modi name here. All right, fine. But that is one thing. Second, the intensity with which the questions are asked, the same intensity with which course corrections don't happen. So, because they boycott you, you don't ask. And when we ask and we stand up in the parliament with the records and say this is what is going on, no, we won't hear your answer, we'll walk out or bang or thump on the desk and call us names and go away. I want them to come to how their schemes are all distorted and they want us to go with the malpractice there. I'm sorry, no. We don't do malpractices, nor would we accommodate that.
There is also a statement that came from Mr. D.K. Suresh, Member of Parliament from the Congress Party, who said, southern states contribute so much to the tax kitty and they get nothing in return because everything is redirected to the northern states, obviously hinting at your stronghold areas in the Hindi heartland. And he said that it's possibly time now for southern states to join together and make a separate country. How do you respond to a statement of that kind?
We completely condemn the statement. Come what may, whatever be the context. And this is an honorable member in the parliament, and he's a sitting member of the Lok Sabha. Has he raised this question in the Lok Sabha ever? Has he got replies from the ministers? And if he had the data with him, would he say that his apprehension was wrong? The formulation for sharing revenue is given by the Finance Commission. How much goes to which state? And when does it go? We follow that to the last cross of the T and dot of the I. If I violated even one day by 1 hour, ask me. But even let's for a moment think that no, probably there was something which is not given. Would you then call for a separation of southern states from the Union of India? Didn't he swear on the constitution when he entered the parliament? Even before contesting an election, you expected to swear on the oath? And then after winning, and then after coming into the Lok Sabha? Has this sitting member forgotten it? And he is no less than the brother of the Deputy Chief Minister, coming from the state to which the party's All India President, Shri Mallikarjun Kharge ji, comes from. And if this is the statement, you think it's right? It's wrong on every count. Southern states get their due. And from yesterday, since after the statement was made by Honorable Member D.K. Suresh, social media is abuzz with data coming from government sources, both Karnataka government and All India, about which state is getting what and how much is being contributed by which state. If that's the argument, first of all, then let me ask, within Karnataka, Kalyan Karnataka doesn't get enough money. Bangalore generates a lot of money. Can then Bangalore say, I'm sorry, we want to be away from Karnataka, or we are not getting enough money from Karnataka's revenue? Can this kind of a talk be encouraged? Karnataka, Bangalore contributes a lot. If money is being taken for Kalyan Karnataka or Chitradurga or not so developed areas, will then the Bangalorean citizens ask, oh, we want to be out of Karnataka because we are the ones who are generating money, it's going to Chitradurga? Is this the way country is governed? And is this what a responsible member of parliament can speak? And then to suggest, I'm sorry, what? Separate from India? I thought we're all sitting here in the parliament remembering the constitution and unity of India. Absolutely condemnable statement. And if the Congress party doesn't pull up this member, apologize to the people of India, and the Congress president and also the former president are all sitting quiet. Earlier, when we used to say Congress is today aligned and more aligned with the Tukde gang, this is what it means. India ko tukde karo, isi raaste pe chal rahi hai Congress. Tell me if there's been a responsible pulling up of action there on that member. Has anybody apologized for the statement this man made?
But Mr. Rahul Gandhi is busy with his Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra.
But he's the one who went and stood with the Tukde gang. So you expect him to apologize for it? I don't see it.
Is it the death of dialogue between the treasury benches and the opposition benches? The way I see it, on no count is there any dialogue doing point scoring. Election time, one understands and factors this kind of slanging matches. But isn't this the default setting of the parliament today? And does this bother you, Nirmala ji?
Navika, I'm afraid I have to first call you out on something.
Be my guest.
What is the balancing that you're trying to do? Name calling, lack of dialogue. Don't do this balancing. You may be a media senior representative, but don't do this balancing. Be fair and forthright. To say name calling at its worst happens against the Prime Minister. We don't even respond to that. At best, we say this is not good, don't do it. We never indulge in name calling. One. Second, when we come to reply on matters that have been raised by the opposition, you walk out, you don't want to listen to it, you don't want to engage in a dialogue, you disrupt, you throw papers, you sit on chairs, you don't even get out of the house. Who does that? Hasn't the Prime Minister come and answered? Hasn't the concerned ministers have answered? On everything. Manipur, Home Minister was ready from day one to answer. No, we don't want you, we want the PM. How many times has the Prime Minister of India come during UPA to talk on departmental issues? It may be of very vital importance for the country. But aren't they ministers? You want to listen to them? And when Prime Minister comes, how many times have you walked out? You disrupt him from speaking. So, death of dialogue, and you're throwing that ball on us? Name calling, you're throwing that ball on us? Please, you must have the courage to ask the same question to the opposition and tell me what they give you as reply. And that is over and above what Sunset TV shows about their conduct in the House.
But let me say this also. You can call me out as much as you want. Everybody calls the messenger out more than they call themselves out. But the fact is, many people remind this that the onus of making parliament run is on the government, on the treasury benches. How do you respond to that? Aapki responsibility hai. You are the people in power. The country everybody is going to look towards you for the answers to the questions that are being raised. You can't run away from that.
We are not. That is why we're calling the parliament. We're asking them to come and participate. There's an all-party meeting held, and literally every day the business advisory committee meets in the parliament with the chairmanship of the respective house speaker and deputy and the vice president, Rajya Sabha's chairman. So in these meetings, you agree for one thing, where consultation, government wants you to come and work, government appeals to you to come and discuss. And in these meetings, you take a position. And once you reach the house, you're completely different. And the number of times, I'll point it out, and I'm sure your team can do the research on it. The number of times the position taken by the Congress party in Lok Sabha is opposed to the position taken in the Rajya Sabha the very next day. So what is it? The party has one position in one house and another in the other house. So who's going to be answerable for these sort of things? Ways to disrupt are varying. And these are one or two examples I've shown you.
Nirmala ji, people say that this government has alliance partners, which are the institutions. And one of those institutions report, administratively to your ministry, the Department of Revenue. It is the Enforcement Directorate. And they say that it is such an alliance partner that every single state is terrorized by the Enforcement Directorate. Top 23 politicians, leaders, chief ministers are routinely harassed, is the word they use. Again, shoot the messenger if you want to, but that's the word used by the opposition, only for your own political gains. Whether it is Hemant Soren, whether it is Tejasvi Yadav, whether it is Lalu, the list goes on and on. Is the ED misusing its powers beyond what was envisaged when the law was made?
Absolutely not. If only you look at when the cases were registered, in most of those in which the ED is now pursuing. Many of these cases are from the UPA time. The cases were filed at that time. You think in India, the process of investigation, going into the court, after filing the charge sheet, can happen overnight? And in many cases, the cases were filed when the UPA was in power. It is reaching somewhat the logical conclusion now. In some others, tell me if the ED has gone on a fishing expedition, as you call it nowadays in social media. They come with, and wait a minute, even as they go for a search or a survey, they are two different things. Most of their movements are videographed. Even as they enter, they open a room. You find currency notes stacked up to the roof on all four walls. The room, you're not able to step because there are piles of cash held. These are all videographed. You think this is a legitimate operation? And they were within their rights to hold that much of currency locked up in a room? And if they did have a legitimate reason, what is it? Pray. That which cannot be put into your bank. So are these staged, do you think?
So Mr. Sahu, who was allegedly linked to some of these cash recoveries, he's out free. We've not heard of any document or any statement by the ED linking it clearly, except saying that there are allegations of his involvement, but he's free. Hemant Soren is arrested and there is a constitutional crisis of sorts in Jharkhand. Mamata Banerjee, Abhishek Banerjee, these are not cases from the UPA time. These are cases from your government's time. Kejriwal, nothing has come out. That's his claim that not one naya paisa has come out in the surveys, seizures, etc. From anywhere in his house or his ministers who have been there in the Delhi Sarkar. Why is it that the ED has become such a unifying factor for all opposition parties to come together on the one side, and on the other, people who quit the India alliance or the opposition parties and come to the BJP are said to have gone through a BJP washing machine and are never troubled again.
No, these are very politically catchy ways of picturizing what is happening. But as I said, you may say, no, some of the cases are your tenure times. Today, Navika, every case is monitored very closely by the courts. Every affidavit, and rightly so, it should be that. Every affidavit is looked into in careful depth and questions asked by the court. Again, I say that's how it should be. So it's not as if I can just, in a jiffy, say, right, today you go investigate that person. It cannot happen like that. There are processes, there are SOPs laid down. If the ED violates any one of those, they are pulled up severely in the court. And for people to just remark saying, oh, nothing came out of it, nothing was there. The liquor scam of Delhi. And rightly the media has been calling out saying, we've never seen a scam of this nature. And on that, when action is taken, the brazenness with which the CM says, oh, no, this is normal, there is no malpractice in that. Fine, you defend yourself. Who's stopping you from doing it? But the people are watching how outrageous this has been. And the courts are going by the merit of the case. They're not swayed by me or your statement. So you will have to please put all this in context to see what's happening.
So many summons to Arvind Kejriwal. Is it the run-up to elections?
I don't want to compare at all anyone with the Honorable Prime Minister. But maybe timely for us to just recall when it was issued to him. Do you recall that the Honorable Prime Minister, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, appeared before the CBI and appeared to completely answer questions and came back saying, it's my duty, I'll answer. As a public servant, as an elected representative of the people, what is the moral standard that we are setting? Just look at that Chief Minister who's now the Prime Minister. I'm very proud that I serve with him and serve under him. He didn't say, oh, this is a politically motivated case, whilst it was 100% politically motivated against him. But he didn't say it's politically motivated. All right, come. You want to ask of me? I'll come. Before you, ask me. What? 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 9 hours. And there was no natak baji. He went inside. I don't know. I had to give him medicine. Food is reaching. Food is not reaching. Nothing of that. He went in, sat there, answered all questions, and came out and said, I've given my version of it, and went back. No whining and whinging. And how many summons did you say, which was issued to the Chief Minister of Delhi? 5th?
I've lost count. 5th, 6th, 7th, I don't know.
And is this the way to to deal with responsibility? Wasn't that? I don't want to compare at all. And I say this openly, not because I'm part of his cabinet. No standards can be matched. It will take a lot of effort for anyone to match his standards. But didn't he go and appear? And why are you running away from it? You have nothing to hide. In Tamil, there's a proverb. Only when you have weight, somewhere held here, in Tamil it is vayaru. Vayathula ganam irundadha, alla madiyila ganam irundadha, bayapadnom. If you have something to hide, you'll have to be scared. Or else go, speak. Why are you running away? You're claiming, right? There's nothing wrong, nothing was found. Go.
Okay, then on the issue of Paytm, let me come back to that issue because people say you have lots to hide. You promoted Paytm. Now Paytm holds, so many customers and now there's an RBI notice. What happens to the money of common people who use this app? The fact that the share price has crashed and of course, the allegations of Chinese investments. Jairam Ramesh, Priyanka Gandhi, all of them are talking about, has the government been sleeping at the wheel? How do you respond?
The regulator is taking an action. I normally don't comment on any one particular company or any particular investigation which is going on. India's contribution through the fintech is a big thing. We value it. We value fintech sector as a whole. If there are regulatory issues on which a regulator takes action, it's for that company and the regulator. I may not be able to speak on it at all, just as I may not be able to speak on any one particular investigation which the ED does. They go on the merit of the issue.
But Paytm is a consumer interest issue.
Absolutely.
A lot of common people who have got used to digital payments, and Paytm was amongst the leaders who came in first. So it's the question of answering concerns of citizens.
Yes, but this is about the banking side of Paytm, on which the regulator RBI is also coming in with public interest in mind. It's not the intention of RBI to, put common citizens who got used to digital payments to difficulty. RBI is only ensuring that the right course corrections happen so that people are not affected. So I really cannot comment on that case, but regulators normally come in with public interest in mind. Let's understand that.
But when the accusation is that there is Chinese money into this, a company connected with Alibaba of China has holding in Paytm, why has the government not acted earlier? Mr. Jairam Ramesh, the media head of the Congress party, has raised some of these questions. How do you respond to the fact?
When the regulators come to act, suddenly the Congress party wants to give its wisdom into the matter. They kept telling us about one particular group. They kept telling us that you're helping that particular group. Now, in Telangana, the newly elected Congress government wants to work with that particular group, and they've signed an MOU, haven't you? So, where is now Jairam Ramesh of the world? Where is Rahul Gandhi of the world? The same group is fine for you when they sign it in Hyderabad, and when we have not signed anything at all, the allegation is on us. So the Congress's hypocrisy and the Congress's brazenness about doing something right in your face, but alleging others about the same thing, is an act of such brazen hypocrisy which the media doesn't want to raise or call them out, because you will now tell, oh, they have boycotted me, so I can't. None in the media would ask.
I do my shows, I ask my questions every day.
None in the media would ask.
Nobody's been able to scare me out of speaking the truth, Nirmala ji. At least that much you will
Even earlier, in Kerala, I've said this in the parliament as well. Developing one particular port, Virinjam, was given on a platter by the then Congress party. No answers are given. I've raised this in the parliament. No answers are given by the Congress party. So I'll do everything, but I'll accuse you, is exactly what is replaying now, even in this case.
But the ethics in politics, when the BJP goes and realigns itself with Nitish Kumar, the BJP should be the last party to talk about ethics in parliament after swearing कि कभी नहीं जाएंगे, मर जाएंगे, ये नहीं करेंगे, वो नहीं करेंगे. Politics is a game where...
Navika, you're conveniently shifting from charges of corruption, charges of pecuniary benefits, to charges of you aligning with a party which has no, ideologically no connect with you all. Come on, look at what a Communist Party is doing. Look at what every other party, when it comes to the national interest, they say, no, we are going to stay out, but support. These things happen in politics. But when you compare that with outrageous corrupt practices, which the Congress is never able to defend itself, they get exposed in the court repeatedly. Let's draw a line.
Well, Nirmala ji, then let's move to towards the end of the interview, where I want to ask you a rapid fire round. Rapid fire questions. This election is about performance, or is it Ram Bharose after Ram Mandir?
With the blessings of Ram, but on performance.
Will Gyan Vapi and the latest puja being held at the Vyas Tehkhana be the new agenda for the BJP, or will you still focus on economy, people, and benefits for citizens of this country?
Economy and people and the benefits for citizens are top priority because we've never differentiated on the basis of religion, caste, creed, nothing. So that will be going on. But civilizational issues cannot be forgotten.
What do you think about Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra?
Particularly because he's still in West Bengal. You heard Mamata Banerjee ji yesterday, Chief Minister, speak. That,
40 out of 300.
And also the fact that she was not even informed. Now, agree with her, disagree with her on ideology. Isn't that protocol? Isn't that the protocol requirement in the India alliance? You don't even inform her. She's your partner.
Is there an India alliance today?
You can see it being chipped away at various sides and corners.
Who do you think is the challenger to Prime Minister Modi in this election? Rahul Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, Mamata Banerjee, Arvind Kejriwal, who?
And wait for it to emerge. It is still not emerged.
Is it a done deal that the Modi Sarkar is coming back? Or do you worry about the region where you come from, which is the south of India, which has been the huge challenge for the BJP?
We are working in South India. We are working in Kerala, we are working in Tamil Nadu, we are working in Andhra. And we'll certainly work with the people for getting their voice heard. It'll take some time for us to make a very big dent. But our work is on in the south. But as it is, I think I can say with a certain responsibility, and I recall the word you used at the beginning, not overconfidence, with a sense of responsibility, that Prime Minister Modi is coming.
Nirmala Sitharaman, Rajya Sabha member of Parliament, or will you fight Lok Sabha?
Presently, I'm in the Rajya Sabha. Let's see what the party does with me.
But most people would have started nurturing a constituency if they were to, contest elections, which is just around the corner. Right. Have you started nursing a constituency?
No, that's the point I've answered, saying it's the party's call.
Nirmala Sitharaman as Defence Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman as Finance Minister, which has been the more fulfilling job that you've had?
Very difficult to make a choice. I've enjoyed both. I've really felt very dedicated in both the places. Indeed, very grateful that the Honorable Prime Minister had the confidence to give me such responsibilities. I've tried doing my best.
And 2024, what do you see for yourself?
God knows, and party knows, PM knows.
Well, on that note, thank you very much, Nirmala Sitharaman, for speaking frankly. And once again, many congratulations to you for just being and having nerves of steel to get through this job of being the finance minister for 6 straight budgets and 6 straight years. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Navika.